Hello, today I have a message called As You Truly Are, and here is the short version. The rigidity that seems to be between beings is a fiction. Remember that projection is an attempt to see over there what you believe to be in here. The difference between involuntary and voluntary is important. You can see a being as cherished by you over here, or as united with everyone and everything, and therefore safe and provided for. As you truly are, you cannot hold anything against anyone or anything. Okay, so back to the rigidity that seems to be between beings is a fiction. We can feel this through the whole day. Anytime we feel anything that is not good, we're feeling the cubicle walls we put up between beings, pretending we're separate. So every time you feel those today, you can allow the walls to dissolve. And this is your happiness. Finding the cubicle walls you put up and allowing them to dissolve helps you receive thought from spirit, and thought from spirit causes your speech and action to come from spirit, and your experience to come from spirit. All of it is a perception, so it causes perception from spirit, and perception from spirit makes you happy. It makes you happy amongst others who are also finding their happiness. So it's very simple in that way. Every time we bump into a wall that we ourselves put up, we can't do anything except bump into walls in terms of not feeling good. Bump into walls we ourselves put up. And we ourselves can also let those dissolve. So how do we do it? We don't feel good. We find one thought attached to that not good feeling. So I feel reluctant, and that's a not good feeling. I think I don't want to let anybody into my life. That's the thought I found. If you practice this, it'll get easier and easier to find the thought. And then you set the thought aside. And the feeling of reluctance, you can start looking at your not good feelings as proof. It's proof that the thought, I don't want to let anyone into my life, is a lie. Ego sends us nothing but lies. And when we believe the lie, a little alarm goes off, thank goodness. And it might take the form of a not good feeling like reluctance. The reluctance means I don't want to let anybody into my life is a lie. When I can set the lie down, I'm just aware of how ego's making its case against this, saying it keeps us safe, but that's a whole other set of thoughts to go in and question. When we're so fearful that we can't stop listening to ego's thoughts, we do take those self-protective actions like leave a place or get away from a person. So when we're so invested in the belief that someone or something is so dangerous, we get away from it, we avoid it, and we handle things that way. So don't worry that this is going to lead to disaster. You're not going to start drinking drain cleaner. You can still question your thoughts and find the lies that ego is sending you and set those aside. When we set the lie from ego down, we need to look towards something real, to reorient ourselves and to rest a moment there, and to gradually allow this to become our new normal, and to allow the new normal to expand and expand and expand and be shared with everyone and everything. What can we look toward? I look toward a lesson from A Course in Miracles. You can have your own way of reorienting. But so today I'm looking toward my salvation comes from me. What am I? I'm everyone and everything. When I look within, I find you. I find everyone and everything. So I have to keep returning to that spot within. I have to look within and find the goodness without opposite within to reorient. That can happen very quickly when you practice a lot. So you practice a lot and you find the goodness without opposite very quickly. Understand that you share it with everyone and everything, and rest there. And as you rest there, you share goodness without opposite, what is truly real, with everyone and everything, and you bring it into your experience, and you allow it to expand and expand and expand and expand. And a repetitive image I've had today is popcorn popping. People popping awake all around me. Pop, 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 pop. And you wouldn't want to hold this back. The ego can come in and say, I would want to hold awakening back. So I can be awake, and then I can distribute awakening through channels I deem coming from me. I will help you wake up for 1995. Not to judge anybody who's charging for anything right now, because all things work together for good. But I'm saying, like, the part of us that would not want everyone to wake up like popcorn all around us today, right now, exponentially, quickly, that part of us we can let go, because we think we can get something from parceling out what we think to be our, I don't know, superior knowledge. Just share it. Just share it. I remember one day I was just saying this very emotionally, like, you don't understand, share it right now, share it right now. And I feel the same way, but I'm not upset about it. Share it right now, everything you have access to. Recognize its presence, and that's the goodness without opposite, alive and here and present within everyone and everything. And then you meet a friend within everyone and everything. That's what you want, to be happy. Not to have money. You'll have whatever money you need to have to be happy. Okay, let's see. Where am I? The rigidity that seems to be between beings is a fiction. So let the fiction fall down and let the reality arise and make itself obvious, because that's our opportunity in every moment. And in a moment when we're not feeling good, it's a beautiful opportunity, because we can see exactly where we're holding back reality, the goodness without opposite that we all share, from rising into our vision and making itself obvious. And now we know what we have to do to just let it do what it will. Let it rise up and be seen. Okay, remember that projection is an attempt to see over there what you believe to be in here. So let's say corruption. Let's say I'm looking over there and I believe I see corrupt ones over there. I believe it to be in here. If I truly believe that, I think I have corrupted files that are my very self. And it's so painful to believe I'm pretty much like hideously distorted permanently and cut off from the goodness that I might have a little inkling of remembering, that I have to try to see it over there. And then it seems like I get some temporary relief from saying, that guy's corrupt. But the corrupted files can be, I don't know, healed, removed, if I know the problem's in here, not over there. The only reason I'm seeing it over there is because I believe it to be in here. So again, that's the same opportunity we have throughout the whole day. If we feel uncomfortable or unhappy in any way, it's about what we believe to be in here. We might be seeing it over there, and we might think that thing over there has a negative effect on me, but we truly believe it to be in here within what we call our separate self. And that's why we're struggling to just feel a little better by seeing it over there instead of looking at it in here. As we look at it in here, it's an illusion. The idea of our corruption or our sinfulness, that's an illusion that can be seen through. If you hold Jesus's hand and look at it and see it dissolve and just see the light shine and see the light, is what was always real. And of course, it doesn't have to take the form that I just described. So many helpful non-physical beings or ways of thinking about the goodness without opposite that is here for us. But those are the words that came to me just now, so I used them. Projection is an attempt to see over there what you believe to be in here. We can fool ourselves so easily, and once you realize you've been fooling yourself, if your emotion gets very high, that's the extent to which you have been fooling yourself. Like, oh, I've been fooling myself for a while. I feel pretty intensely about this. But it's not too late. However intense you seem to feel about something over there, that's how much hatred for your very self that you've hidden and sort of distorted and tried to shoot outward so you wouldn't have to face this self-hatred. Just face it today, because the self you're hating, it isn't your real self. It's just a false self. It's not you at all. So you can look on it. It's not scary. hold the hand of whoever is there with you. Let's say it's my higher self or whatever helpful non-physical is there with you. And just look at the self-hatred. Don't shoot it out there. And this is for me too. This is my opportunity all through every day. And we can look at the self-hatred and let it dissolve, because that's all it is. And then when we allow our hearts to heal and we look out there, we see beauty and friendliness and love and connection and solutions and ease and flow together, a harmonic flow together. This way is clear for us. Okay. The difference between involuntary and voluntary is important. This is a reference to A Course in Miracles, where it says something like constructive acts, and referring to miracles, constructive acts are involuntary. Giving you the feeling like the miracle's just going, if there's some action piece for you to do, it's going to be obvious and involuntary. It's not consciously planned out and done carefully in order for you to be a good person. And just to have the confidence in yourself and in all you call other, that everyone can, in an involuntary, inspired way, speak and act in helpful ways, basically. Everyone has the capacity right now, especially if you don't drag along a self-definition from anyone's past that would limit them. Everyone has the opportunity to speak and act from love. Everyone has inspiration accessible to them right now. And everyone can express and think and speak and act harmonically. If you give that to everybody, then that's what you have for yourself. And here comes this cascade of miracles, meaning perception changing in ways that don't need to observe the limits we think are real, in order to show us how loving and friendly and beautiful everyone and everything is, how supportive and loving this world is. The world can show us that in ways that don't have to respect the limits that the ego says are real. That's why they call them miracles. They don't have to respect any ego limits. Our perception can change radically, and it's nothing we have to fear. So the difference between involuntary and voluntary is important. So where you're trying to be a good human, trying really hard to be good, you can give yourself a break. And where you think somebody else should try super hard to be a good human, you could give them a huge break too. The workload on your desk is enough. So I always get told, eyes on your own copybook, right? So eyes on your own copybook. Any feelings you run into today that are less than great, that's your workload on your desk. And you can do it. And you're doing your work to question the thoughts from ego, and to look beyond them to what else is here for you and how you can reorient to what is really here for all of us and be inspired by that. Your work benefits all of us, and we're grateful. We're grateful for you as you truly are, not your false self. We don't really feel one way or another about your false self. We love you, and we're the same you that you are. We're connected to you forever. Okay. You can see a being as cherished by you over here. So if you pick a special friend or a special family member and say, this is the one I like or love, right? Or you can see a being as united with everyone and everything, and therefore safe and provided for. And something in A Course in Miracles that I like to think of is, I give you to the Holy Spirit as part of myself. You can do this with an object, with a person. Just put everything in Spirit's hands and take a load off. So it's much easier to put Spirit, which is what we all are, in charge of everything, and to make no exceptions. And when we don't feel good today is where we're attempting to put ego in charge, and we can feel the strain and judgment and fatigue of all that. So we always have a choice in every moment, and thankfully our choice is to relax into simple guidance, simple inspiration, and nothing that would judge us harshly, or even especially positively trying to get us into comparison mode. No, what is here and loves us and guides us and shows us and can light up the world for us is very loving, and it never draws us into comparison. The way we should use comparison is about how we feel. So when I question my thoughts, I feel better. When I let my thoughts build up and believe them, my ego thoughts, I feel worse. That kind of comparison is the right kind of comparison to use. Let all your comparison be about how you feel. Okay. You can see a being as cherished by you over here, or as united with everyone and everything, and therefore safe and provided for. So everyone and everything in your sight, you can intentionally hook them up to the most beautiful fuel source there is, which is just source, which is what they're hooked up to anyhow. But if you've been seeing them as they aren't, and then you're finally willing to see them as they are, you can see that they've always been hooked up to this fuel source of being, of love. And then just surrender and say, I want to see what unfolds when I finally remember that you've been hooked up to the most beneficial fuel source there is. I just want to watch the show now. It's going to be beautiful. As you truly are, you cannot hold anything against anyone or anything. So if there seems to be drama around you, or even distant from you, but which you are engaged in terms of your attention, it's really beautiful that even in the middle of the drama, you can ask to remember. We can ask to remember everyone and everything as the goodness without opposite that they truly are, always have been, always will be. They can't really be anything other than that. And it's so strong now. It's so strong, this memory, this awareness. And I can't even put words to how strong it is. But there's still resistance in me that I bump into every day, and I have to clear that up and get straight in my mind and not be silly and not be foolish. So I still have the stack of work on my desk every day, but it's very joyful work. And this is fresh off of quite a time of struggle, thinking I was going to die, knowing that wasn't true. But having those persistent thoughts really come up very strongly, like ego would rather end the body than let you remember who and what you are and who and what everyone is. But for each one of us who is willing to wake up out of these layers, we make it much easier for everybody else who's waking up at the same time. So we're all working together and helping each other. As you truly are, you cannot hold anything against anyone or anything. So if you bump into a moment today where it feels like you are holding something against someone or even something, know that part's the fiction and let that be your challenge. Say, somehow I've gotten myself entangled in the fiction, and observation and memory would tell me this fiction is true, but the part about observation and memory is it can be built out of thoughts from ego, which is complete lying, or it can be built out of thoughts from spirit, which kind of nudge you toward the remembrance of what you are. So you always have even if you believe you've experienced an event, was it made out of thoughts that are lies through and through? Then what is the value of that experience? Well, if it helps you remember that you've been accepting untrue thoughts and then experiencing a fiction, then okay, that's very helpful. So let's use that on our way out to then turn toward and accept the thoughts of spirit that are here for us, and to stop and affirm, I would like my thought stream to come from spirit. I want to be guided by spirit. I want the words I say to be caused by thought from spirit. I want the actions I do to be caused by thought from spirit. I want my entire perception to be caused by thought from spirit, because thought is the building block of all the building blocks of what we experience. And now what we experience together can be very beautiful, very healing. And it's never about finding anyone guilty. The only way out is to find and magnify and remember everyone's innocence. So we have this beautiful opportunity with all of us today. And I am wishing you well today. Happy healing.